Good morning from Hong Kong. It's been a while since I made a video. Busy doing a million other things, but one thing that I've been doing every day, and it's been an uphill battle with hydroponics for me. Growing hydroponics outdoors on the boat here has been pretty damn complicated. Even though I didn't think it would be as complicated as it is. And I found the reasons why I have all the complications is I just don't have the materials readily available as you do in North America, USA, Canada, Australia, etc., Europe. Well, what I've got going now is I've got on this back drip rail system, if you will, using the fertilizer that I found originally. I could put 12 gallons of water in the nutrient tank and get the pH. It's at 7.2. Then what I would do is I would neutralize it down to around 5.5, because I knew that the fertilizer would raise the pH a bit. And so I thought it was a bit, but it's not a bit, because from 5.5 it would go up to 7.8, 8.2, and then the thing is I'm using pH down in the next day, and then the next day, and then the day after that. It's always up, and I lost one batch of well, it's one whole kit here, 42 plants. I've lost them the first time because it got out of hand. I ran out of pH down, and it pretty much just burned the roots. But since then, I have been watching that pH, and I've been trying to find some other kind of nutrient solution. But luckily enough, in all of Hong Kong, I found the one and the only little garden shop that actually has a fertilizer, a liquid fertilizer. And so I picked it up yesterday. But what was kind of unique is yesterday morning, before I got the fertilizer, I'm seeing the basil here was doing like it had that pH burn. And I'm like, oh my God, but I've been watching the pH and I've been keeping it below 6.5. Between 5.8 and 6.5. That's the maximum. But then I went and I pulled out the roots. And I don't know if you can see them here, but they were much browner. But now they're starting to get white roots, so I've got like root lockout or root rot, pythium I think it is. I'm not sure if it's that pythium, but it kind of has that look to it. But now I've got clean white roots that are in here now. So I got clean roots, and now I've put in this new nutrient solution probably about, I'd say, 18 hours ago. I put it in 18 hours ago. I put the water straight in, the 12 gallons, and it was 7.2. And then I put in the fertilizer into the water, mixed it up, straight down to 6.0. And now it's staying between 5.8 and 6.0 right now. And I'm loving it. I'm just really ecstatic. But again, on these 2 rows, all basil. Now, just this morning, because I see I got white roots on this, and I planted 2 new ones, because these plants here were just like these. They were the same size, but this is where they're growing to now. As you can see on that center there, it's just really dark, and but now I've got white roots coming off of it. So hopefully it can be saved. And if it was the pythium now, about 18 hours ago, when I cleaned my nutrient tank. Now I use a nylon brush and I scrub everything, and I totally flush out the system several times. before I put in a new batch of nutrients. So research tells me that it's the air stone is the one thing that kind of carries that bacteria. Now that I've got white roots that are growing again, and that I've turned off my air stone. I've turned off the air stone on this, and now what I've got is the air stone's down there, and it's off, but it's been all scrubbed and clean. There is no slime or anything inside this. This is, I mean, it's only like 18 hours ago that this thing was totally cleaned out. So air stone is off, so I'm not throwing any more bacteria into the water through the air. But my pump is 1,500 gallons per hour. So that's moving a bunch of water. And as you can see, I've got lots of bubbles because that's coming up and it's coming down and it's falling. And it should be able to bubble and kind of reoxygenate as the water temperature goes up a little bit. Because now the temperature's been about 33 degrees, 32 to 33 degrees C. So it's about 92, 93 degrees Fahrenheit. And the box is staying about that same temperature. And so hopefully that pythium or whatever has been knocked out. But now down here, now this is the Chinese vegetable choy sum, and I'm not sure what breed it is. It was the plants were given to me. They're the seeds. So now this one is just starting to show new white roots, but it still had that pythium kind of look, like all the photos I see on the internet. So I got white roots that are coming. It's getting darker green around these the veins of the plant again. So I think that was, I may have nipped it in the bud early enough, but I'm not sure. We'll actually see with these new clippings that I put in. The lettuce seems to be doing really good. This is a butterhead. This is a butterhead that's growing, and it is really kind of hard to see. But the roots are not white. They got some white roots, but they're kind of like that yellowish gold. They're not the way it should be. But it actually looks like it's growing well now. And I mean, it's got that little, is this that Parat or something, butterhead? It's got that little red dusting, little red dusting on the leaves. I'm not sure that's a leaf lettuce. That's a butterhead. But now here, underneath the direct sun, and that outside, the butterhead is growing. And this is a leaf lettuce, and it's growing really, really well. And it's, so that's only a few days old. But as you can see, the leaves are kind of coming back to life. But yeah, it looked like that start of that pythium thing. Some of my stones blew out, but let me push it down. But here's another leaf lettuce. Hopefully those come together. But hopefully I've got a nutrient solution that's going to balance that pH and keep the pH. And again, I still keep checking it 2 to 3 times a day. And that I've got to find a TDS meter yet. That's kind of hard to find. We found, pH meters, not a problem. Any fish store has them, but they don't have the TDS meters, and so I know what my total dissolved solids are in the parts per million. And so I've got to find one of those, and I'll probably have to get that from a factory. I'll source that, get a sample direct from a factory. But that's what's going on with this. So now, previously, if you watch any of my other videos, you can see those are not the same plants that were there. It looked like that. I had to take out the plants. They were all beefsteak tomatoes, and the beefsteak tomatoes, I guess they are pretty sensitive, but they got the tomato curl leaf virus. So I had to clean everything out, just really, really, wash down all the expanded clay pellets. Wash it out, let the sun beat on it for a few days, just kill whatever it could, and now we've planted these back. But this was about 3 days ago that I put this in, and so we'll see what happens. I've got to get, it's the old fertilizer. I've got to take it out, and I've got to use this new fertilizer. Now, the other thing that I'm kind of concerned about is this tank is about just over half of it is an open air space in between there. So if the sun does beat on this and on the top, this air will heat up, and then the water flows through. It probably will heat up. So I'm thinking about getting a smaller box like this. They're probably a quarter of the size. But what I'll do is I'll put on a stainless steel vent on the outside of it with a filter, and then I'll put in a little 24 volt, like small computer fan type thing. Excuse me. And then that way I can suck in some ambient air, which is probably about 32 degrees C, and that go in. So this, even though the sun's on it, it'll never get warmer than the ambient air temperature, because that'll keep sucking in and blowing it out. Of course, I will have some evaporation occurring, but I check the water every day and give it up, because the plants get thirsty, so you need to keep watering them. I don't have an automatic system right now. So that's what's happening with this. And I can kind of show you that even though if I had that Pythium, if I had that, the way to sterilize, the way to clean, hold on, let me set this over here. The way to clean the way to clean them would be with hydrogen peroxide, or H2O2. Well, the only hydrogen, here it is, hydrogen peroxide, the only hydrogen peroxide that's here in Hong Kong is, read what it says down here, bleach all-purpose antiseptic. Now, I mean, mind you, I use this. This is about $3 US, 24 Hong Kong. I use these because I jump into the water, I get cuts, and we go fishing, and you get cuts on your fingers, and you need to avoid infection. So I do use this for open cuts on my human flesh. But it is not H2O2. It is a bleach product. So I don't know all the facts. It's in this semi-transparent, a translucent type cup. So I know that it is not an H2O2, which is just water with an extra oxygen molecule, because it needs to be in a dark container, otherwise it'll break down. So this is 20 volume, 6% W/V, whatever that means. But it still says it's a bleach, all-purpose antiseptic. I don't want to use bleach in my system. I mean, that's just common sense tells me that, you know, a bleach would burn and probably kill the plants that are in there. It'd kill everything. So, but I cannot get H2O2. Hong Kong is afraid of every disease, but they're also afraid to have any caustic type chemicals come into the country. So it's really hard. So I'm still going to try some of these larger pharmacies, druggists, big chain stores, if you will, in Hong Kong, and hopefully I can find some H2O2. I'd probably be only able to get a 3% if I'm lucky. If I am lucky enough, I could probably get a 3% H2O2. And then if I were to get Pythium and that, I could just be using that. It's not as good as the whatever 35%, but it would be something. So now, here's the fertilizer that I found, because what I've been using is this Hyponex 20-20-20, and again, it's just a powder. It's just a powder, and what it is you get this little scooper, and it's 1 scoop per liter of water. But again, it just shoots your pH through the roof, and I've been dealing with that. And so luckily enough, at the shop, this Hings, they're starting hydroponics and stuff. And I think there's enough foreigners, expatriates here in Hong Kong, that want to start doing this stuff on their balconies of their apartment buildings, that they're starting to get this. So now these are 5 liter jugs, and you got to mix part A with the part B. Equal portions, because part A, this is calcium nitrate tetrahydrate, I believe is how it's pronounced. But now in the part B, it has all the other stuff. It has the potassium, it has the phosphate, magnesium sulfates, and irons, and boric acids, and copper, and all that stuff. But you got to mix these two equally. So the way that it is here is the basic translation here is it says for basic lettuce, leafy lettuces, and that you would use 5 milliliters of the part B to 1 liter of water, and you need the same. But if you're growing Chinese type vegetables, which we are, is like choy sum, and that says to mix 6.5 milliliters to 1 liter, and that's what I've done. I've done the 6.5, so I've got 6.5 milliliters per liter of part A, and that 6.5 milliliters of part B, and that per liter, and that in that back system, and again that's 12 gallons. And then to break it down to liters, etc. But that's what I'm using, and unfortunately I don't have any H2O2, but I can safely say that I'm not going to be using that for hydroponics anymore. I finally found something, and again, this was only 250 mil or something like that of each part, so 5 liters is going to last me a good long time. But that's what's happening for the fertilizers that I'm using. I'm changing over. Hopefully I can save those plants, and hopefully hopefully it can be more simplistic, not so damn complicated and so complex. I just want to grow some vegetables, you know, and I'm having better luck with the soil, unfortunately, because there's the basil. It's growing. A mate of mine has a lemon tree, and that's where we got the clipping from. But anyway, he's gone for a week to Scotland, so we're watching it. But I've got a hydroponic fertilizer finally on the Bigfoot. There's a hydroponic fertilizer. Still battling diseases and things, but hopefully I can get this hydroponics down to a system that's all right. Because right now my pH, I've got with this, I've got a really good system to maintain the pH, and it's not a fear anymore for that pH. And it's good fire fertilizer, I guess. I don't know. So that's what's going on in my world, guys. Be good, be safe, and always be well. Bye-bye.